What's up? What's up, flooring family?
Going.
Welcome everybody to the Huddle. We come at you every Wednesday. No, I lied.
Tuesday.
Tuesday at 3 p.m. Central.
Rick James.
Rick James. Can't say the rest. Uh, so we're here to, continue the discussion every week about how to maintain forward progress in your flooring career. So this week, with me as always, Daniel and Jose Gonzalez from Preferred Flooring out of Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Yes, sir.
And we're going to talk about the impact of technology on the flooring industry. That being said, not just one technology. There's been a lot of things that have heavily impacted our industry.
Evolution.
Starting with taking solvents out of our adhesives. So we'll be flooring nerds for a few minutes here and discuss that. Back in the 90s or whatever, when they, I guess it was early 90s, late 80s, they started taking solvents out of our adhesives, really driven by the EPA to reduce, solvent-based materials going into landfills.
What
Do you
is the
guys,
EPA?
were you guys, yeah.
No, for people who are listening.
Did you guys install back in the mid 90s?
Late 90s.
Late 90s. Late 90s. Last
Okay.
2 years.
Do you happen to remember like unitary backing on carpet?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Unitary
We still deal with that.
And Lee's.
What's that?
Lee's backing, the fiberglass.
Yeah. Yeah, that old wax back or fiberglass back Lee's carpet is obviously they got bought by Mohawk, but and that was always a dreaded material, to be honest with you, as an installer. Even whether it was the fact that the stuff just gathered on your knife and it was hard to keep a clean blade or stretching.
Hard to run a row. It's hard to seam up.
Run in a row, the whole bit. But I ask that because the unitary backings, when they took the secondary backing off and the glue, that product came out, and the reason they had that product, just to digress for a moment, was to help eliminate or reduce zippering when a thread was pulled on a broadloom carpet. It had a really high PSI, when you'd hook a I'd make stuff up if I knew the piece of equipment, I'll call it a micrometer. That's completely wrong. But, to test how many pounds it took to pull out a loop, the unitaries had, I think it was 25 pounds, and regular action back had 8 pounds or 6 pounds or something like that to pull out a loop.
Oh, after it was adhered to the floor.
Just
or installed.
In general.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But that all happened about the time they took the solvents out of the adhesives. And so then these weaker adhesives, you had to add so much adhesive to that unitary backing to just get it to stick to the floor. I guess I was just seeing if you guys experienced that at all. We had one heck of a time with that product. But that being said, once they took our solvents out of our adhesives, they got much weaker, and they didn't really have a technology to backfill it, like to just come in with a great adhesive product. Do you guys have any war stories?
So, first I do remember so back then when I started, I was still brand new, like as far as the science behind everything, totally oblivious, right? But I do remember when the adhesives changed, because we went from what we were calling premium adhesives to this other stuff that was skinning over, and it just wasn't holding its tack anymore. And I obviously didn't know why back then, so I was kind of following the lead, and it actually didn't make sense to me for years later as to what happened. But I just remember not being able to get away with a lot anymore because that adhesive wasn't going to stay tacky for so long. I couldn't come back and throw a little bit of steam on something and and resituate a piece or resituate a pattern, it was in stone, brother, and we couldn't do that anymore.
It dried out real quick too.
Dried out, yeah, yeah. The difference from concrete to wood substrate as well. Like it's like, man, what is going on here? Like,
yeah, I remember. I know
stuff.
plenty of times. Go even today. You go pull up an old carpet. You can tell which one had if it was an old solvent adhesive because it's still got some tack to it, still got some grip.
Yeah.
And then the old water-based adhesives that were new at that time really crystallize and dry out, and it's like you can scratch it off the concrete, off the substrate with your fingernail. So the improvement of that, I think today we all have our favorite adhesives, which we might name drop a few that they've gotten way better at, their technology, and that's been a big improvement. Because right along with that, when you take solvents out, now you also have a much more sensitive floor to moisture. And so we've dealt with all those things. And at this juncture, there's plenty of new adhesives out that go 99, I think some even, claim to go up to 100 RH. So let's name drop. What's your favorite pressure sensitive high RH adhesive, guys?
Oh, we just got them using some for a project that we did about
if you want
2
to.
months ago.
Technically, it's not pressure sensitive though, but he's talking about Taylor Resolute, which is the no moisture testing needed. But you do have to realize that when you get into these adhesives where you don't have to test the moisture, what ends up happening is there's a process involved, right? Because anything underneath that can be affected by moisture has to be gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can't go over old gypcrete or old gypsum-based white floor patch.
Yeah, you gotta remove everything.
Yeah, so technically you're supposed to get down to the concrete, right? Because any patch that's on there anyways is technically not moisture resistant like the Ardex MRF or the Utzine 890. So in order to, uphold the warranty on everything, you also have to get down to that concrete and then use a prep that's going to be resistant to that moisture as well.
Yeah, good point. And that's newer too. If you look at that,
yeah,
100%.
It's still brand new.
Thing.
I think anything less than 5 years old is still brand new, right? Like that's still brand new. Like some people still won't. Some people might not even know that some of that stuff exists yet, and that sucks to say like that, but it's very true. Anything under 5 years old is still brand new in my eyes.
Yeah, but I think that the technology, man, my screen, sorry, is really whitewashing out because of my white shirt. Sorry, guys.
I thought it was because of your skin. My bad.
It's my teeth.
You got a better tan than you do, Daniel.
My curly smile. Well, you know what? I mean, that's true that it's new, but did it change? Did it actually help the industry? Kind of. I think the water, higher moisture resistant patches and adhesives have been a huge, game changer for most companies that have been through that time period where you used solvent-based adhesives. I mean, I literally used to use, it was, I believe it was Parabond 4023. It was a red label. And that stuff got replaced by 4099, which was the gold label water-soluble stuff. And we had a whole bunch of buckets that the company I was working for had bought, and we were still using that for probably a good year after they quit selling it. It was so good that as our stock went down, you kind of had to make this judgment call, like, do I want to use this up? Like that last bite of really good pie or something.
Is this job worth to use it on right now?
Yeah. Yeah, it was that big of a difference between the two. So, what other technologies? We got tools. What do you guys think of? Just to name a few, I think the demo machines
Uh,
have been around for a long time.
Demo machine,
Those,
dude. So that right there in itself was a game changer. Man, the amount of demo that we've done by hand in 1 inch strips, or just pulling the trying to pull the carpet out and just pulling the layers, the naps would the fibers would stay glued down, but you'd be pulling the scrim through the fibers because it's so stuck.
yeah.
Um, and it's just I don't know, man. Like the machine worth its weight in gold. There's so much though. I don't know where to start and stop on that. There's just so much. Lasers
We don't have to
for
start or
splitting
stop
things up.
nowhere. We're starting on demo machines, and we're going to go all the
Well,
way through to dustless tile saws.
because you think
Man,
about the demo machines, and then you get back to unitary back, because once you tried ripping that up, it was just stringing, right?
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, it was like it was a pain in the butt, and then it'd pop you in the knuckles, better wear gloves,
Yep.
all that kind of stuff.
Well, even now the demo machines from the ride-on that we bought, I feel like we just bought it, but it was a long time ago. Our oldest one till now they have the radio control ones where an operator doesn't even have to sit on the thing anymore and operate it. Like, come on. I mean, I'm just jealous because I don't have one, but those I can't remember the last time we didn't have a demo machine.
Well, those really got popular in the early 2000s, mid 2000s.
Yeah.
When they really started. Um, I think that's when National kind of got into that game pretty heavy. I'm sure the Bronco was around. I've seen some Bronco machines that look like they were made in 1950. So I don't know how long those have been around, but they weren't an everyday machine that people bought. I mean, when I was installing, the company I worked for, I was an employee installer, but they didn't have any demo machines, and they were one of the larger companies around at the time. Now, heck, I know installers that have these
Right.
things.
We
Just
started
Yeah.
with the red shaker box is what we called it, ripping out entire grocery stores with it. It was straight up not a good time.
Was that the Bronco?
No, it was
No, the walk behind.
the walk
Oh
behind
yeah,
with the
Those are-
weight on the
those
with
are-
the weight on the front that it just had a screw that you tighten and then it would fall off every 5 minutes.
yeah. It's incredibly loud and
Yep.
and uh,
Yeah,
somewhat inefficient. I'll tell you another
that
tool.
one, and then the orange one.
I'll tell you another tool that's a handheld that does a wonderful job. And I don't know when they started making these. Do you guys know when they started making little eddies?
No, I don't.
We found those. Oddly enough, Home Depot was rents them, and I think we rented the first one. I was like, why in the hell don't we own some of these? They were like
I don't even know what you're
$800.
talking about.
It's comparable to like the little wolf that we got.
Oh, it's like the Duro.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
it's like that but shaped a little bit differently and
Yeah, it's basically, it's got a pole on the end of a motorized it spin. I forget the RPMs on it, but it speeds at an incredibly high RPM. The vibration is so high that
Okay.
it's not as loud. And that thing for a handheld is really, really effective. And then you guys work with the stubby, right? You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Oh yeah.
the flash cove roller, right? It's a real specialized tool except for once you get it, you start using it for everything. It's comes in a few sizes. They have the cap roller as well, and then the corner roller, and then two sizes for the cove stick, depending on what size you're using. But I actually the inventor's name is Daniel as well. He's from Australia, and he was posting about him, and I was like, you know what? we do Flash Cove all the time. Let me see what they're about. So I bought a couple of them, started using them, and I was like, yeah, this is probably something that needs to be in more installers' hands. So we just bought a bunch of them, and we started selling them on the website. And I mean, everyone that has one loves it. I have never had a complaint on them.
It seems like they've come out with some more, right? Some different roller profiles and such.
So you have one for the cove cap that you tuck the vinyl into, and then one for the corners. So if you like to not have your seam right in the corner and you like to fold it, I think they do that a lot overseas. So yeah, I mean,
so on the inside corner you'd almost kind of reverse butterfly it.
Yep.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've never done an inside corner that way.
Me either, but
easier to weld, I bet. Even though it's at an angle, it's still a flat surface if you reverse butterfly that thing.
I don't know.
Huh.
It comes down to that point, though.
Yeah, it comes down to sneaking it behind that cap.
Yeah, true. Well, looks like I went ahead and looked it up because I was curious. Lil Eddie came out in 91.
Yeah, this Danny right here on YouTube says that he's been using Eddies for 25 years.
Man.
Yeah, they are awesome. For little handheld demo machines, they work wonders.
And it's one of those tools that you don't know it exists, and then once you finally get your hands on one, you're like, how did we live our lives without this thing?
Yeah, and if you're one of our guys, you're like, how can I modify this thing? So our guys take the handle, because there's a handle at the end. They take that off and put a kicker, the butt of a kicker on it, so they can lean on it.
So they can lean on it?
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Instead of pushing with your hand, you can just lean on it, and
better patent.
I remember the first demo machine we actually purchased that was a game changer for us, besides just like renting the red shaker box, was on Craigslist. I found an old original turbo for sale for $100. And I was like, what? And I remember it was out in Cedar Springs. It was about 30 minutes north of Grand Rapids. And I told Daniel, I said, dude, I have to leave work and go get this because we need this. And it's $100. And he was like, yeah, bye. So I went out there, it turned on, and I was like, would you take 80 for it? And the guy looked at me and said, you and I both know what this thing is worth. I'm not taking less than $100. I said, you're right. I'm sorry. Here you go.
Still trying to get a deal. On a deal. My man.
Yeah, man. I think we made our money back the first time I rented that out to someone.
So what tool technology's been like real game changer for you outside demo machines and the stubby?
The D-cut for millwork base.
Amen. Thank you for bringing that up. It wasn't even in my head, but dang, that thing has changed not only the way you install the millwork base but the efficiency and the cleanliness and not having to have a extension cord and a chop saw with you. That was a game changer.
Or setting up the miter saw somewhere centrally located at the job, and then everyone walking back and forth, you just drag it with you and make your cuts as you go.
Yeah, the D-cutter. And they have a base D-cutter too, right? I think outside of the millworks.
Yeah.
Don't they make the one that does the
outside corners?
Outside corner.
Yeah, we have one. I bought it to test it out.
Do you guys use it?
I don't know if I'm a fan.
No.
I messed with it a little bit, and I just found that I think it'd work great for a new guy.
There you go, right there.
I mean, I think you give a new guy that, and it's kind of foolproof. But man, an experienced guy with a knife, I think, at least for me, it was so much faster to cut it with just a regular utility knife.
Right.
Once you have that feel.
if you got a project and you have some extra base to waste, and you can go and pre-cut a bunch of like 1 inch or half-inch returns, and warm them up, heat them up, and let them shape, that'd be a way to go to allocate a 4 foot piece, and you pre-cut all these corners, and I see where it can be beneficial. But someone who is proficient at installing base and is good with a knife is not going to like the idea of having to stop and start.
I'll tell you what, I have no complaints about the D-cutter for millwork space, though. That thing, game changer. I remember buying the first time I seen it, I was like, I'm buying that, and I bought it right then.
The crazy thing is, I just bought another one because we have a bunch of millwork base coming up, and I wanted to try and speed things up. But the cost difference from when we bought our first one to right now, I was like, man, we should have bought a couple back then.
Inflation, baby.
The first time I ever did millwork base was out at an old folks home out in Marshall, Michigan, and I didn't know what it was. When they told me my base was right there, and that big
you were like, "What in the world is this stuff?"
Use the
Dude, I did
knife.
everything with a utility knife and super glue, and I tell you what, my fang danglers were not happy with me.
Huh?
It was not probably the prettiest of installs either. So
I would imagine not. That would be a tough gig to cut that stuff with a 45 with a utility knife. But I did it all the time with the frickin' chop saw, and you had to take your bag off the chop saw because it just get
clogged up.
The not sawdust, but the debris from cutting that vinyl would just clog up. Yeah. So you had to take that off, and you had to clean up after yourself the entire area because it just shooted everywhere. Yeah, that was a game changer. Have you guys used or thought about using the dustless tile saws?
He was looking at one a couple years ago.
Yeah, I was looking when they first came out, and our guy over at CCS was going to allow us to take it and kind of try it, but it didn't turn into anything, right? Like I didn't want to. I felt bad taking it to go do my shower at my house.
Yeah,
I wanted to use it in real life situation because at my house I already had it set up, and I didn't want to mess up the one that they had in their showroom. But he was more than willing to let us use it, and I really, really wanted to. And so I get mixed reviews from some tile guys. Some tile guys love it. Some tile guys just don't want to veer from the water.
I think it's great. From a technology standpoint, I think it's awesome because I've cut on them, at different shows. Again, another reason to go to shows is you can try out some cool new stuff. But they held the dust down really well. They made a good cut, but they are heavier than hell. And that's both can be a pro and a con. Not that it's heavy, but the fact that it's heavy is because it's got all the dust containment and is waterless. The benefit there that I would think, and I'd love to talk to some people that have one, but if you're on a job site with no water, that's a big deal. Like if the plumbing's not turned on, you need to cut tile. So that thing could come in real handy, I think.
In winter.
That's what they used in 2020 at surfaces when they had the ceramic guys competing. They used those tile saws.
Yeah, there you go. Somewhere where you have to walk 2 miles to go outside and make some cuts.
Yeah.
Or in the winter when you don't want to be outside in someone's garage or somewhere where you don't have to worry about making too much of a mess. Where cold water.
The mess is another part. Like having to, set up a station, you don't really have to do that much. So what other tool technologies before we move on to like technology from a computer's perspective?
Dude, lasers have come so far. Just and I'm thinking more along the lines, not only just the small ones that people are using nowadays to set backsplashes to make it easier for all that, one man job or I'm talking like the large format projects where you got patterns upon patterns, and you're going in and around, grocery stores with all these patterns and different types of flooring. The first time I used the laser, it was in the raw. It was pretty raw, just like a surveying laser type. To what is available now is just night and day difference.
Yeah, they
I
got them
think
where you can find your low spots and your floors.
Oh yeah.
We have one that will find the low spots and you can mark
How does
them
that
out.
work?
And yeah, it works good. It's kind of it's a tedious like piece of equipment to use and set up, but it works well. I mean, it'll find the low spots and the high spots, and you can help your floor out a lot with one. And then of course the layout lasers with tile guys, particularly with wall tile and such, and matching up floors and wall joints. I mean, yeah, that's been a big changer. I feel almost blessed to have been in the time when I was working with when I was employee installer. If there was no carpet or whatever, my job got pushed, I'd get sent with the tile guy, and going with those guys. I remember them using old fashioned just tubes with water in it, water level, and using that to find all their high spots and low spots.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. So it was truly old school. This guy, what was his name? Jim.
That's what that tool we got is based on.
What's that?
Oh, he's frozen.
He's in a bad area, isn't he?
Yep.
Yeah. So and now you got a laser to tell you exactly what's level and what's not. So that's pretty cool. So moving on as
we got a couple right
down
here. Kevin says that the Cool Glide was his game changer.
Oh yeah. As commercial guys, I know we all do residential, but not primarily. I forget about that. I've seamed up Milliken carpet tile to make an area rug out of a Cool Glide. We have a bank customer that, they wanted the area rug over their wood floor in their entrance to match the carpet on both sides, and we seamed up with that Cool Glide, and then was able to take the whole thing. And this was a 12 by 18 area rug. We seamed it up and was able to roll it into a big roll and take it up the job site.
Nice. And
kudos to Mr. Dwayne Pruitt, who installed that for me.
And Danny says that his Leister robot welder was a game changer, doing 150-foot seams at the airport.
It also comes in big time handy if you're doing a lot of sports flooring. Those damn joints flooring are, 70, 75 foot long, 100 foot long. And to have a man on that machine welding can be it's a real time saver on those jobs.
We were looking at a project with some static dissipative floor at a battery plant, and it was ropey tile, and everything had to be welded. So we went and bought a robot and got all ready, and then they were like, "Oh, never mind, we're just gonna put epoxy instead."
Oh my goodness!
But guess what? So we still got it.
You still got a robo welder. That's cool. Yeah, those things are awesome as well. That's why I like to get input from people, because it's hard to remember everything. That's a big game changer. Like I said, especially on sports flooring, you can start welding the circles and all that while your welder's you set it up and let it go for 100 foot, and that's that.
I'll use it on a 10-foot seam. I'll use it on a 20-foot seam.
Yeah, I don't know if the guys yank it out for that, but it works. So I mean,
we were doing a dance floor one time, and the material was like so finicky with the heat. If we were to use any other method, it would have discolored it.
Really?
Yep.
So yeah, it adds that consistency of movement to your.
You don't have to worry about you don't have to worry about your arms doing this, the cord getting in the way, and you moving and then discoloring something.
Yeah.
Don't forget about toolboxes, guys. Like I know that sounds kind of dumb, but
the stackable toolboxes that Milwaukee came out with, and I know there's copycats now, but those are awesome.
Dude,
look, I
got. It took Daniel
I got my camera.
Daniel 2 years. I told him. When I stepped into the office and I bought some toolboxes for my house for personal use, I told Daniel that these are the best toolboxes I've ever seen in my entire life. This was like 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago. About, no, these are fine. Our toolboxes are fine. Like 2 years later, he's like, I'm sorry, dude. They're awesome.
Yeah. Well, you can't beat pulling your tools instead of carrying your tools. And I tell you what, those are nice. Several other crews have them. Well, let's move on to, we're about halfway, at least time frame wise. What about, it's hard to not mention the cell phone when you start talking about technology and you start talking about game changing. Yeah.
Computer in your pocket.
Yeah, like, I know this is a flooring based podcast, but at the end of the day, just receiving, nowadays we have other technologies. I'll plug Go Carerra. We've had a couple episodes where we did a deep dive in that. So if you're watching and you don't know what Go Carerra is, there's a couple episodes out there, or you can always reach out to us for more info. But there's other technology to use the phone, but the phone itself, whether it was email, getting an email on your phone, or getting just receiving a phone call. I know I'm dating myself here, but I remember pulling over to payphones to make phone calls. So I am old enough to remember when payphones actually worked when you put a quarter in them.
Right. Now you just, hey, we need updates.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's all it takes.
I remember payphones too. I remember payphones and beeples. I remember my friends getting in trouble because I had a pager that was I bought it very cheap, and in order for someone to page me, they had to pay 25 cents off their landline to send me a page. It was good for me, but man, and just to date myself too is I told my son to videotape something the other day, and he said, Dad, why do you always tell me to videotape it instead of just record it? I was like, what do you mean, dude? I said, videotape it is recording it. He says, but I don't know why you say videotape. It's just called recording.
He's got a valid point.
He does.
He does have a valid point.
You're not putting it on video.
Can you roll the window down? Roll the window down.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were telling me. I knew exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, we're just talking about payphones and pagers, and you're sitting on a video call in your vehicle.
Right.
I know.
On a cell phone.
And my son asked me if they had color TV in the 1900s.
Yeah, eventually.
When you think about that, we were born in the 1900s, guys. That's
Amen.
Messed up.
Yeah. Well, we're not showing our age. We all look you two look very young, and I'm pulling up the rails with the white chin. But, how have you guys, what's always impressed me, I'm just going to say it with you guys, is that you embrace the new technology as it comes along, and you work through and find ways to adapt it, or, new technology can be a little clunky if you've ever, used something brand new, but you guys just work through, whether it's a tool, you figuring out new ways to use tools, or, computerized technology, meaning you guys have been big into Microsoft Teams and using that for management of your company and running things. So what other types of things have you guys done that hasn't actually improved your business from a technology standpoint? I can start one off. I'll tell you just real quick, was on-screen takeoffs, because when I started doing flooring, it was manual, and then I actually went to a course in Vegas to learn the digitizer, which was you taped your paper drawings to a drafting table. Yeah. and then you told it some certain points, and then you had this wire that hooked up to your computer, and you do the takeoff similar to you do on-screen takeoff now, but on an actual set of paper drawings. So, nowadays it's color.
Man, I want to learn that.
You could do wall elevations and 3D stuff with it. So that's mine. That's probably one of the biggest technologies that really improved our business model and business flow. And we adapted it early enough that we were able to kind of gain a competitive advantage for a while before everybody jumped on board.
Yeah, and early on when we started, we didn't start with Measure Square. We started with someone else, and it was way harder to learn than Measure Square, in my opinion.
But it was harder to learn because Measure Square is more user friendly. I'll be honest about that. But once you learned the other one and came over to Measure Square, it was like boom, so easy. Like,
yeah, shout out to Measure Square. We use them too, and it's been a wonderful piece of technology for us. So, what else have you guys?
Keeping.
I'll be honest. For me, it's just the computer. Period. Like that right there has come a long way. Like I was a file cabinet, do it by hand guy. I was using the same template for every invoice for everything and just deleting everything, and then doing it again. We went from, I remember having to fax everything over. And then I used to tell people, like, why are we still faxing? There's emails. Can I just email this to you? And people were telling me that was never going to happen. Daniel was actually the one who designed all my invoices when he was like 14 years old, 13 years old.
That brings up the bid boards and things like that where you can send bids through. We use Building Connected. I don't know if you guys use that stuff, but keeping track of your bids and you send the bids right through Building Connected. So there's interfaces on top of the email technology and everything like that has made life way easier. Because I do remember faxes and faxing, bids, and then calling to make you get in a delivery proof of delivery, and then calling to make sure. And it was crazy. But yeah, that by itself, I get it. Computers overall, but there's also these programs that run on top of all that have made life so much easier. And the reason I wanted to do this type of a podcast is like, just take a minute if you're anywhere close to 40 years old and think back to what it was like and the differences. We get so used to what we use, and we're so used to the phone in our hands, and I'm sitting being recorded on a laptop and having a video conference that's being, shot out to the worldwide web. And it's amazing if you just stop and think about how quickly technology has changed. And one of the things that we want to remember is that not only has technology changed, but the speed at which it's changing now is so much faster. Like, it's like that. So staying on top and staying out front of what's new and what's happening is like you can gain competitive advantage over your competition if you're quick to adopt technology, because there's a lot of companies, a lot of people that are a little bit, adverse to it, or a little bit
that was me.
Slow to technology. It scares them.
That was me. What made me realize that I've come a long way? The other day, my sister was in the office, and I was typing. And
is that how you type?
She looked over me. She
fast?
was like, "I do okay." and she looked over and was like, "Does Holder type faster than me now?" And Daniel said, "Yeah." And I'm like, and for me, that's just a win, because I started like this, and then I graduated to 2, and then 3, but then
now you're a pro.
Now I can just like read and type, and you don't think about it. It's second nature.
Only
So
took
guys who haven't started with technology yet, start.
Only took like 15
practice.
years, but he's there now.
Hey, listen. When I was in school, they had a class called they called
Keyboarding.
it keyboarding.
Yeah.
Yeah, keyboarding. They didn't call it computers or computer lab. They called it keyboarding, and that was it.
Yeah, I don't know what it's called today, like computer science and is the degree in college, but I'm sure it's
But
got like
at my son is in middle school and my niece is in high school, and they don't even teach typing or anything anymore.
Oh man, they're dropping the ball on that.
Yeah, because my son is like typing like this too, and I'm like, they don't teach you at school. And he's like, no.
voice recognition is going to probably do to the keyboard what
I don't know, man.
the computer did to typewriters.
Yeah, you're right. And then with all the AI technology coming out as well,
That's changing so fast. It's incredibly. Have you guys messed with Chat GPT?
Oh yeah, yes, 100%.
So I've used
Daniel
it.
showed it to me.
I've used it a lot.
Blew
Just
my
trying
mind.
to figure out how to train it and teach it different things. It's pretty incredible how you can talk to a computer and then that computer can mimic you in pretty short order. It can mimic your writing style. It's pretty crazy. Yep. But if you're not like messing with that kind of stuff right now, you're behind. I mean, Chat GPT 5 is getting ready to come out, you know? Mm-hmm. It's like, how do you stop it? I don't know. I know there's a lot of concern out there with the technology. You know, there's some pretty high-ranking people of the planet, like Elon Musk, that are concerned with where this thing's going and what it could do. Well, but at the end of the day, I'd rather know about it if it's a problem than not know about it and it be a problem. At least I can understand it. So I would encourage everybody to, embrace the new technology as it comes out and get to know it.
Yeah.
And the thing about
you better learn how to use it before Arnold passes away, because once Arnold passes away, then they're going to go ballistic. They know that they're safe to do whatever they want.
He's talking about California.
Vega.
Yeah.
The thing about Chat GPT though is if you put crap in, you get crap out, right? You got to be real specific in everything that you're putting in there.
Yeah. Yeah, and ask it questions. Just fool around with it. I think it's free basically for if you are just trying it. I know they have paid plans, and I'm not a Chat GPT spokesman or anything. I've just used it a little bit I've messed with it a lot of it, but I've actually applied it in some writing, some content creation stuff here and there. It's pretty powerful.
I started using it with our job descriptions and stuff.
Tell me about that for looking for employment job descriptions type thing.
Just writing out the job descriptions that we're going to be handing out to people and stuff like that. It's putting the information in there, seeing what it thinks, and then it comes back with some pretty good stuff.
That's cool. Yeah, so sweet. There again, my point's taken. You guys have already been messing with it and got some experience with it. How do you see utilizing that type of, you've already mentioned one way, how do you see some other ways that, some of this AI stuff could be used?
I see it being very helpful in updating, which I probably should update now, is like terms and conditions of contracts, to have the correct legal verbiage in there, right? So that way you're protecting yourself. But like Daniel said, it's a matter of asking the right questions in the right format, so that way you get the right result. But I can see that being a benefit, and then it's going to benefit everybody like that. Like you're going to be able to copy and paste someone else's contract in there, and then it's going to interpret that for you, and
essentially
you don't understand.
I mean, essentially, that's what you're doing. I mean, it gets its information from other
everyone.
from who has
Yeah.
put something on the internet at some time in the internet's history, and so it's gathering all that data, gazillions of bytes of data, and it's right there at your fingertips. And so, yeah, I think
However,
asking the right questions, I found it pretty useful in just quick, concise emails. If I am too emotionally charged on an email, I've had it
that's a
write
good
an
one.
email for me. How would you respond,
To this
or respond to
email.
this, and then tell it what to respond to. It'll shoot your response tune, and you just guide it along, and before you know it, it's written an email where my emotionally charged email would have been maybe come off wrong. If you're dealing with a difficult situation, like I happen to have been on this particular instance, and it's endless what you can use it for, but we've dabbled with it in that way.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome. I never would have thought about that because I want my emotion to be in there, but I do have the tendency to take a couple hours to write one when I'm upset and delete everything and start over and delete everything and start over
I've done
until
that
and
probably
basically
100 times.
until I'm level enough to not say the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Now you just
Because
ask Chat GPT.
yeah,
Yep.
GPT
Then all you got to do is change a couple words, and then you're golden. I had it write some
instead
social
of
media posts for me too.
instead of GTS now is GPT, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's Bing in it now because now it's since Microsoft invested like $3 billion into it. It's incorporated into Bing now, so now you got to switch
Oh
from Google to
man,
Bing.
Wowza.
that
Well,
sucks.
we've went through different technology for different things, right? Like adhesives, tools, computers. I think that the key here is, like, if you don't try, if you don't embrace technology, it's one of our core values at my flooring company is we embrace technology. Like, you can, if you take that attitude, I believe that you can get out ahead. But also, you know, when it becomes technology, inevitably becomes kind of a staple in your life, and you're not falling behind. I mean, I know plenty of guys, starting Go Carerra that have had problems utilizing a cell phone, just using a cell phone, or still have a flip phone because they don't want to go to the next piece in a smartphone. So they still have a flip phone. Embrace it because it's not going anywhere. The key here is to get to know it, embrace it, and then figure out how you can utilize it to better yourself or better your business. That's my ploy to everybody is really embrace the ideas that are out there, see what it does, and then if it won't help your business or you personally, fine, but at least you've tried. And then I guarantee you eventually you find those things that will really change your business. Give you, I mean, we were putting out bids in days that would take weeks doing manual takeoffs. Like that type of a difference in efficiency. We were running on screen takeoff when other people were just learning it. So embrace technology. That's my ploy.
You know what? Now that you say that, how easy it is right now to go and revise a project when people are like, oh yeah, let me get it with this material. You know what? That's out of my budget. Let's switch this room to this room to that. And it's just a matter of, drag and drop and click, couple clicks and you're done, versus having to I already drew all over that drawing, man. Now you gotta go print something
Right.
up and start all over.
I already highlighted everything.
Right?
Yeah,
Color
man,
pencils. Rollins says that
man.
I'm out of uniform, but he didn't say anything about your white shirt.
Well, it's so neutral. I think he's giving me a pass.
Hey, you know what? Hey, Rollin, one thing that going back to the beginning of the conversation, that Duro that we talked about, like the technology and the tools, that Duro helped us out on one of those episodes of Restaurant Impossible to remove adhesive from a wood substrate. Without that thing, man, holy smokes!
What did you
I don't know.
use?
So we used the Duro with the razor scraper
Yeah.
on it, the attachment, and it was some really, really sticky carpet, broadloom that came off of a wood substrate, and the adhesive was super thick. And we were going over it with underlayment to put down some LVT, but we still had to scrape that glue up. Otherwise, we were going to be lumpy, right?
I
Like,
was gonna say, why'd you
you
have to
know,
scrape? I was gonna set you up really
Rollins said
well.
they
Like,
showed it in the episode.
what episode was it, Rollin?
See if he answers.
Episode number what? Because I'll go watch it. We'll
Episode
hopefully get
number
everybody to go watch it.
18, 19. It was just aired probably a month and a half ago. Of this year, yeah. But
Yeah, how
that,
impossible would Restaurant Impossible be without today's flooring, without the technologies that we're talking about? Like hand
yeah,
pulling, like doing a remodel like that in 48 hours or whatever it is. How tough would that be without modern day demo machines and stuff like that and other technology that allows us to do our job more efficiently?
Right, and
super tough. Augmented reality is making its appearance now for our industry as well. Not only just construction in general, but the metaverse. That's a real thing. You gotta get up on some of that. Do some research on that, guys. That's going to start affecting how we do our job. From the takeoff standpoint and submittals and
the whole metaverse thing was they had at Surfaces at the women's conference. And when they went through it,
I forgot about that.
there's a lot of people that, ourselves included, because we haven't looked into it, right? But it's like, we don't understand. So you're going to get on here and you're going to sell flooring for someone's fake house. And they're like, yeah. And everyone's just like, I don't understand what's going on. And they're like, think about it. What are your kids doing? They're building stuff in Roblox. They're doing this. They're doing that. And they're spending real money on fake money, on V-Bucks for Fortnite. Right? Our kids are huge into V-Bucks and Fortnite. And it's like, that's what I tell my son. I said, I'm not going to keep on spending real money on fake money. But that's that's the nature of the game right now.
Well, I hear that some of the engineering, they're coding some of the stuff to, even push engineering and stuff like that a little further. And I could imagine your model home being in the metaverse where you can go physically walk through it before it's ever built to make any upfront changes before your actual home's built. I don't see a future where humans who are social animals completely abandon reality and go into the metaverse, but I can see it as a very useful tool for stuff like that. You design and build a house in the metaverse for next to nothing, have the customer walk through it, make sure that there's no changes, or even a full building. How many times have you went into someone's facility and they're like, man, everything's awesome, but I wish I'd have put another, set of bathrooms over here, or I wish I had an extra, we only have one mop sink on the first floor and I don't know why we did it that way. It's just little things like that could be flushed out.
And
so even
and that could be where they do meetings and stuff on here now. So it's like you can get an entire team walk in the building together all at the same time. You can have the EVS team like you said, we need a slop sink right here because the other one is like way over there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's that kind of thing. I mean, video technology like we're on now. To get eyes on the job site and stuff, that's one of the newest features coming out on Go Carerra is a piece of video technology that allows you to mark up on the screen from your office to like specifically tell your field staff, or maybe it's superintendent you're trying to explain something to, I can literally start a call with somebody in the field, and I mark a circle on my screen. It shows up on their screen, so they know exactly what I'm trying to tell them, and vice versa. I mean, stuff like that. It's like you can be on the job site without being on the job site.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, today I went right before I got on. That's why I'm in the truck. Is we had something pop up. I had to go measure it, and I'm documenting everything on my phone in a program and walking through and videotaping it and putting commentary to it, so that way I don't have to explain it again later on.
Yeah.
You know, like this is hey, watch the video. So it's a 1 minute video. Watch it. Or we have 10, 30-second videos.
That's a great idea. I don't know why I've never thought of doing that.
I don't like saying. I don't like.
That's a great idea to do that. I gotta say
wish that I could integrate it into some of the measure programs that we use while we're out in the field, and I know that some of that is available as long as you're uploading it to some of like that Construct Connect or Building Connect or whatever. Like some of that's available, but you have to upload everything, right?
Yeah.
Live and in person, going ahead and doing that right there in the program itself would be worth its weight in gold. When you're doing the actual measure, that you don't have to. Then everybody has it who has access to it instead of you having to upload it and trying to reformat it. So that
another cool point that I think that brings out is the fact that technology's there, but how you use it and the ways you use it, if you get creative just like that, like a video of the job, I take video, but to then voice, to actually record what you're talking about and then use that as a tool to make sure that when your crews go back to do the work, that they have some guidance, that kind of thing. Is that how you use it?
Yeah.
That seems genius to me. And that's just
using
technology in a different way.
And the idea came about a long time ago when we were working at places where you got to go in the back door with this key in the back. You have to explain to someone how to get around to the back door, right? So I just started recording it, and then you open the door. Now we got to walk through the kitchen into the dining area by the reception desk, and then here's the keypad to punch the code in. This is the code, and then I'll hold the camera back and I'll put my finger in it, and I'll actually go through the mode. Like I try to do stuff try to make it as easy as possible.
Well, that's how good. I tell you what, Google Earth sure helped a lot with telling crews what door to go to on a building and that kind of thing. I mean, it's all cool stuff. You just got to embrace it.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we're already at the end of the huddle. That went fast, and
that did go very fast.
We could talk probably, another half hour on technology, but it's a broad topic. I think that, like I said earlier, and I know you guys agree. It's like embrace it, try it out. If you don't like it, you don't have to use it, but at least you know about it.
Right.
And from somebody who's came from old school and a little stubborn, and you guys out there, young guys, older guys, women, whoever, it doesn't matter if you understand it or not. Just understand that it is there to make life easier. Understand that it will make your job a lot easier. You don't have to understand it or how to do it. Just understand that if you're not using it, you're losing something.
Well, yeah, it certainly has the ability to find the way that it fits for your business model or your personal life or what have you. I know a lot of guys that have their goals written down on a goal tracker that's, an application on a phone. So, I mean, just find the stuff that works best for you, and give it a shot. You're going to find some stuff that's really cool. I mean, just password savers. I mean, even that, if you what's that?
Without that,
keychain.
I would be lost.
Keychain.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no kidding.
All right, gentlemen. Well, it's been a pleasure to chat with you again today, and
as always,
we will
always
catch you next week again. As always, I fully appreciate you guys always being on here and bringing up these thoughts and ideas. It's awesome. So appreciate you, and we will talk soon.
Sounds good. Appreciate you, Paul.
Have a good day. Thanks for joining, everyone.
All right. See you guys.
Later.
Bye.